All right, there we go. Now we're up and running. Hit that like, share the show. We'll be right up in a moment. I've got a couple of last minute technical things to work out, but it's fine. You can hear me, and that's good.
Are we ready to party, everyone? I did not know it's not code for a pee break. Nice try, though.
All right, let's jump straight in. Chat room, hi everybody, welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. Venmo's a great way to buy me a cup of coffee to keep the show afloat. Though I don't think I need one today because I think I've had irritation all day, and the emotional kind, not the chafy, skin-related kind that Trump has on his neck. It's kept me kept a spring in my step all day. One of the big debates about the Iran thingamadodger. I mean, is it a war? Is it, who am I to say? I would call it that. Attack sounds more like a realistic view from our position of what it was. You know what I mean? I war means that there might be an equal or partially equal pushback from the other side, so maybe there isn't a war. Maybe they never had a chance to get a war off the ground on their side. Maybe we just attacked. So anyways, about the Iran attack, one of the debates back and forth in maggot world is, A, is it a war? B, is it, what's the reasoning behind it? But one thing we know for goddamn sure is that these guys, it's spelled right here, these guys are not in the regime change business, okay? Okay, they're not in it. They're not doing it. That's what dumb, stupid, bad, stupid people do that we've had before. Lots of other weak, stupid presidents who are dumb have done in the past, but not these guys, not these fellers. No, these are the pro-peace ticket, and they're not doing regime change or regime change, depending on how Trump reads it, anytime soon. So put that out of your mind, and whatever you do, well, here, why should I even, why am I telling you this? let the spokesperson for the White House tell you whether this is about altering what qualifies as the regime anytime soon. And this, in case you're wondering, is a little video called Obliterate Iranian Regime. Levitt lays out Mideast goals. I know some of you are like, I don't know, still fuzzy, still not, what? What'd you say? Crossbear? I'm not 100% there. So let's see if this is really about regime change, which I'm just saying from a technical standpoint. Let's say you have a regime and you obliterate it and it's replaced with something else. That would be often referred to as a shonge, a change, regime change. Okay, but who am I to say whether maybe she's got a better spin on this than I do? I don't doubt it.
Right now it's time for our own private White House briefing with the press secretary, Caroline.
It's your own private briefing. Someone to pile the bullshit, shovel it in your ear. Ba-doom-ga-doom. By the way, I think she's got her cross out, so I should have my symbol out as well, so we know who we're dealing with here, lady. Okay? I got my Lou medallion and my personal cult symbol. You're welcome. And, of course, an ad for the Big Biscuit. If you haven't eaten there, heavens, they're tasty.
And love it, Caroline. Thanks for being with us this Friday afternoon. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
I wanted to start you off this afternoon.
They're not having you. You're the White House spokesperson. You're not a guest, asshole. You're who they get when the people in the actual building don't want to speak personally. You're a filter on a Cool 100, on a Kent.
Because we have confirmed reports from U.S. officials that Russia is providing intelligence to Iran to help it target U.S. assets in the region.
And Trump loves Putin. They get along very well. He's got a call planned for next week for him to wrap up this whole Ukraine thing in an hour.
I'm sure this is something that does not please the president whatsoever.
I don't know. Maybe he's got money on both sides.
Have
we checked his poly market?
Spoken to Putin about it?
Well, look, I'll leave that to the president to answer himself. But what I will tell.
Why? You're the spokesperson. You are the spokesman person. You are from the White House, and you are there to do the spokesman. That what she means is she has no fucking idea, and they have not discussed how to spin this because the way Trump would want to do it is to kiss up to Putin either out of habit or obligation or compromise, and she's not sure which direction he wants to spin it.
Tell you, John, we don't comment on intelligence reports that are leaked to the press.
Okay, so it's true. All right, well, that's good. You did comment on it. By saying it's leaked, then it's true. Because you can't leak a lie. Somebody can just lie to the press. We don't comment on lies people tell to the press, right? See how that flows out? And that's based on reality. So if you say it's been leaked, it's true and you know it. I mean, just see how, ladies and gentlemen, how much I try to help you along the road of just not wasting your time. Remember, it's one of the original Sparksisms. You can't leak a lie.
Whether or not this happened, frankly, it does not really matter because.
Yeah, it kind of does. They're helping target American service people for death. Asshole.
President Trump and the United States military are absolutely decimating the rogue Iranian terrorist regime.
You mean the one that they already obliterated?
We're now on day 6 of Operation Epic Fury. The United States military.
Yes, and less than a week in, and the Russians are already helping them target our vessels and our people. Didn't take Russia even a fucking week to join in, to pick a side, and it wasn't ours. Now, I can understand why Donald Trump wouldn't be upset with that, because he certainly isn't, if you listen to the America First crowd, very America First these days, and he certainly isn't American first, and certainly not service people, because, That's just the way it is. In war, you're going to have some dead people, you know. We got killers on both sides, you know.
Military has impressingly established dominance and air superiority.
Impressingly? I think you mean impressively, but who am I to question your spokeswoman?
Over the skies of Iran. We have sunk and destroyed more than 30 of their Navy ships. And of course, the goals of this operation have been laid.
You notice, not really telling us the size of those particular ships, you know. Real quick, can we put a picture of a yacht up on the screen and see if these assholes call it a boat or a ship?
Laid out and very clear. Completely annihilate Iran's Navy, which again, we are well on our way to doing. Their Navy has now been deemed combat ineffective. Secondly, take...
You mean after we bombed it, we're like, fuck, they never got a shot off. These things are shit.
Out their ballistic missile weaponry arsenal capacity, which we are very much doing. In fact, their retaliatory ballistic missile strikes...
Retaliatory? There's a couple other consonants in there. But, okay, anyway, who am I? Again, you're the spokesy lady.
Against the United States and our allies in the region have decreased 90% just over the course of the last 6 days. And of course, the overall mission in this operation is to ensure that Iran can never again possess a nuclear weapon. That was the real imminent threat that was posed by...
Well, possess... is a broader thing now, isn't it? Because now you have to get rid of the regime, because if they survive, they could always buy one from North Korea or borrow one, wink, wink, from Pakistan. Possess and make, create of their own. See how you can destroy their nuclear program, but still not destroy their ability to, quote, possess. You have to, that means the elimination of the state apparatus as it exists. I want to see what you did there. It's very cute. And I'm sure in your general Fox viewers, that just slid right past them.
Iran to the United States, and our personnel in the region and President Trump and the United States military are focused on tackling this threat every single day. Carol.
Yeah, that's why he's focused on tackling this threat every single day. That's why he's having a special meeting about it right now, because this is serious.
Welcome to...
Hold on. Let's see what is he talking about right in this video.
But you can win on appeal. I think I win more cases on appeal than I do in front of some judges that are not very good. But it was a horrible, incredible ruling.
Oh,
and it threw the sports world and the college athletic world into tithers.
Tithers. Wasn't he a character on The Simpsons that they rejected early on because of the... So he's covering college athletics. And by the way, Rubio's there with him because the State Department doesn't have enough on its plate. He's doing a thing on college sports today.
And that's where we are right now. It's crazy things are happening. Young people are being signed, 17-year-old quarterbacks, for $12 million, $13 million, $14 million. We have a 7-year freshman. You know, we have people, we're seeing things that we've never seen before.
Well, if he's been there for 7 years, we've seen it for at least 6.
We have college players that don't want to go to the NFL because they're making more money in college, right, Jim Jordan?
Don't ask Jim Jordan about college athletics. It's a mistake. All right, anyways. So, he's not going to rest until they deal with this threat.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon. So,
just like Caroline Leavitt just said, he's not going to rest until the Iranian regime can no longer possess a... You know what's the problem is all these black kids out of these poor neighborhoods are getting too much money in college now. We got to cut this off. Some of them are starting businesses and fucking with P. Diddy.
As the president demands this unconditional surrender from Iran, there is...
What? Yeah. Who would actually be the person that could legally or spiritually declare that if you're just going to kill everybody?
Major movement in the U.S. energy markets. Crude oil right now is spiking. It's up 14%, topping $90 a barrel. In fact, right now it's at $92 a barrel. You've seen a drop in the U.S. stock market. Can you share with us the concerns the president may have, especially as gas?
He doesn't have any. This is going to happen. This is what shit happens. I got fucking whatever. We'll buy the dip.
Gas prices are now, let's see, they're back up to $3.32 a gallon after dropping to $2.90 just 1 month ago, Carolyn.
Which is a full dollar, over $1 more than his lie about Iowa prices.
Well, rest assured to your audience and to the American people, this is long something that President Trump, his Energy Secretary Chris Wright, his Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent have thought about and have been planning for and have already announced action.
Sorry, they've been planning for this for a long time? Like how long? Like since they were sworn in? 6 weeks? What determines a long time? And so if they've been planning for something like this for a long time, then they were intending on, then the peace talks were always bullshit?
In response to, let me just walk you through the president's thinking on this. We have to
Oh, all right. Well, I had assumed there wasn't any.
Focus on the short term and the temporary goals of Operation Epic Fury to obliterate the Iranian regime.
Okay, so it is about regime change. I just want to clarify that in case anybody had a question about that. There are maggots in the crowd, and welcome. Hi, maggots. If you're showing up, there's big Trump fans that occasionally show up in our chat room. I want to say hi to you guys. Thank you for spreading us out into the algorithm in a way that our regular viewers can't do. But yeah, so this is you heard it right from the spokesperson. There's some things she won't say on the president's behalf, but admitting specifically that this is about regime obliteration, which I think is a change from not being obliterated or existing in the first place. Yeah, it's in no uncertain terms, that's what this is about. Because it has to be. You can't start this and then go half measures because, again, it's about them obtaining by any means a bomb. And if they think that's the only thing keeping them alive next time, then they kind of have to.
Will be a very good thing for the energy and oil markets and for oil prices across the globe in the long term.
Yeah, that's basically the other reason why he's doing it, I guess, right?
When you no longer
get Iranian oil back into the market to lower the price again, because he's either convinced or bullshits people to think that bring gas prices down, everything else goes with it, because labor isn't the problem, materials isn't the problem, shipping isn't the problem. It's the transportation costs from state to state.
Have a terrorist regime that is restricting the free flow of energy through the Strait of Hormuz and to the rest of the world. So that's number.
Well, I mean, they're doing it as, you know, and I mean, I'm not happy they're doing it, but you can understand why they would. It's kind of been their threat the whole time.
Number one. Number two, the president has also announced for some tangible actions over the course of the last few days. First,
what? Tangible actions?
To provide political risk insurance to cargo vessels in the region.
Right. Support the oil companies in their transport. Absolutely. Give them insurance. Have basically our military vessels give them an escort, police escort through the channel.
Secondly, to ensure that there is a free flow of energy.
Is that different from the first one? I'm going to say that's still one reason. I think you do the first thing because it means the free flow of energy. I can speak.
That we are drilling expeditiously here at home, and that we're
yes, they're setting up an oil well right behind me in the rose garden. Can't make it look worse.
Tapping into these newfound markets in Venezuela as well.
Markets? Sorry, we're not selling oil to Venezuela, asshole. We're not drilling in like shale oil in Texas to sell it to Venezuelans. They have plenty.
And then again, the president has also made that directive very clear to his energy team. And you saw Secretary Burgum was just in Venezuela yesterday with some of the world's biggest oil companies who have committed to investments. And Delcy Rodriguez herself.
Yeah, and that'll only take 6 to 10 years to manifest if they decide to do it.
Said that they are working at Trump speed to tap into these markets.
Oh, like the way he talks or the way he walks? Because I take it back. 10 to 16 years.
And then lastly, the president has also announced that the United States Navy will escort cargo ships through the region if and when necessary.
That's part of the first one. Those are the same ones. I understand you pad it out with the real action items, but you do realize that Doug Burgum meeting with the Venezuelans about possibly oil companies drilling in that country has nothing to do with the response to the Russians helping and the gas prices going up right now. It's not a short-term solution at all. I mean, they know this, but I don't know. I'm sure maggots are receiving this very well. Maybe they're just hearing it differently than I am.
All right, so we'll look forward to that happening. Yesterday
in a decade or so.
In the House, there was a vote that was taken to reaffirm the U.S.'s view that Iran is the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. When a similar vote was taken 3 years ago, the vote was 420 to 1. Yesterday, 53 Democrats voted against that resolution, prompting Steve Scalise to say, quote, "We just had a vote in the House to simply affirm the fact that Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism."
Well, technically, in defense of those 53 Democrats, the people that have been doing it that led the Iranian regime are dead. So you have no idea. Right now, they could have been moved just by the killings to 5th place. Maybe we got to go all the way to the fucking Taliban or the Saudis.
53 Democrats voted no. By denying this basic fact, these radical Democrats are defending the murderous Iranian regime.
Well, again, maybe they're just pointing out the fact that they're dead, so it's no longer the #1 state sponsor of terrorism. You know, it might be the Russians actually probably are at this point, because even the Iranian money, a lot of it was Russian money funneled through there, or money that they got from Russia for Shahed drones that they passed along.
And standing against America. I want to invite you to weigh in on this. And as you do that, we're going to put up on the screen here a scroll of all of the terror attacks that have occurred since 1979.
This is fair and balanced. Yeah, nobody's saying that they weren't at some point. I think the argument was that as of yesterday, are they still? I think the chances are pretty small. I think, honestly, that either Russia or North Korea might be in #1 right now. That might be the argument. Their leadership is dead. The Ayatollah is gone, even though he's been replaced. That doesn't mean that that's the guy's methodology going forward. Maybe he just wants to do direct fighting. Also, they've lost some of their proxies, so even if they had the money to spend, is it going there? They might have been in 1979, 1983. Shit, they might have been in 2005.
At the behest of the Iranians. Go ahead.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Right, because this isn't news. We get that part.
Nearly 3 years ago in 2023, every single member of the House of Representatives, with the exception of one, voted together on this resolution condemning Iran as the world's state leading sponsor of terror.
Right, but again, the question is whether they still are as of yesterday. And I think I think if you obliterated their nuclear ambitions, like you said last year, and you've obliterated their leadership and you're hunting down the rest of them, the chances that they're still the #1 state sponsor of terror is maybe they're just being more pro-America and jingoistic than you are, you dizzy fuck. Now, look, I understand. It's a very complicated issue. And you're like, Hal, look, we get it. You're charming and quite attractive, and you have a way of drawing people in. You have a kindness about you, and yet a rapier wit that's very pokey at times, right when it's needed, and you're not afraid to use big boy words on the interwebs. But are you at the level of expert that we need to discuss the quality and the circumstances and the history and the laws and the presidential authority around this? Are you really the guy just because you're named after a computer, Mr. Smarty Pants? Are you really who we should be turning to? No. There are real experts out there. There are people who blaze right by me on these issues. People that maggots turn to that are extraordinary in the depth and the breadth, the girth of their reasoning. And I'm talking about none other than Jillian Michaels, who is, thank God, here to give us a breakdown. Operation Epic Fury, history, law, and presidential authority. Now, I know what you're thinking, Hal. She's got 600,000 subscribers, way more than you. But she's got way fewer viewers than any of your videos. How could that be, bots? How could it be, except Bot Farm, that she would bot farm her way into having a bot farm full of subscribers and yet not spring the money for bot farm views? I don't know. Look, there's obviously a 7D chess here that's being played out that I am not intellectually capable of processing. But one hopes that we'll all get some, the keen, the cunning, the instinct that for facts and figures and whatnot and things with molecular structures that she'll be able to figure out for us. So this is the history, law, and presidential authority of Operation Epstein Furry.
I feel comfortable breaking down the outrage here at home, one meltdown at a time.
Well, you know, you're kind of the queen of meltdowns on your own, so maybe she is an expert.
So the Democrats have taken to Twitter and CNN, raging about how Epic Fury is unconstitutional.
It is it? Are they saying it's unconstitutional?
Taken to Twitter and CNN, raging about how Epic Fury is unconstitutional.
Constitutional, okay.
Honestly, I mean, I don't even need to call Josh Hammer to help us with this one because it's not. But here's a fantastic explanation of why not.
One of the dumbest arguments you can be making is that President Trump is conducting an unconstitutional, unauthorized, and illegal war against Iran. Check out the 1973 War Powers Act. It clearly allows the president to initiate military action even without a congressional authorization of war. In fact, the last time Congress even declared war...
Right, but once it's a war, once he's declared it a war even himself, he has to go to Congress for it. Military action is not... that's why there's a time limit on it. It is unconstitutional because it is a war. It's not an extraction like Grenada. Don't be an asshole. You know better. This is fucking stupid. He can't just launch a war. You can rescue hostages. You can deal with an imminent threat or do limited strikes and that kind of stuff. And that's not technically a war. But once you start a regime change, that's a war. And you can nitpick around the fucking words while you sit at your grandmother's house in her easy chair wearing sunglasses indoors, hoping you look less dweeby. It won't work.
Was in 1942, but we as the United States have fought dozens of wars since 1942, even without congressional authorizations of war. This includes Korea in 1950, Bay of Pigs in 61, Vietnam in 64.
Bay of Pigs wasn't a war.
Cambodia.
Vietnam was a mistake. And again, that was part of the reason why the 1973 War Powers Act was created. That's why it was written up, to tighten down post-Vietnam what that meant.
1970, Lebanon in 82, Grenada in 83, Panama in 89, Iraq in 91.
Also, these are all short interactions meant to get in and get out. They were not regime changes.
Somalia in 93, Bosnia in 95, Kosovo in 99, Afghanistan in 2001, Libya in 2011, Syria in 2014. Yemen.
Again, Afghanistan was another great example of why not to do this. Because it was initially supposed to be a single strike on the Osama bin Laden camps and all that kind of stuff, and then it sprawled into a war. This is, again, another parallel with why it should be and is unconstitutional. And again, it's about your goal. The initial strike might be legal because the president has the right to do it, but he doesn't have the right to commit the country to war without congressional approval. And just because he can find a fucking back door to do it does not make it legal or right or moral or smart, you dweeb.
In 2015. In fact, during his presidency, it was Obama who authorized U.S. airstrikes in 7 different countries, even without congressional authorization.
Yeah, because they were singular airstrikes limited to the days, and they were not about regime change. They were in reaction to stuff. They were trying to blow up stuff that was shooting at us or stuff that was a direct threat at the time. It was not these were not bombings of choice. They weren't just rolling in just because you couldn't make a deal.
Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Pakistan, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. President Trump doesn't require congressional approval to conduct military strikes in Iran because he has what's called Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, which shows that as commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, he has authority to use the U.S. military to protect American interests both at home and abroad.
Right. That's also part of the question here. Is he actually protecting U.S. interests here and abroad with his actions? And the way you find that out is you have another co-equal branch of government check that power. That would be the Congress. That's where the difference between limited strikes and a committing of troops. Again, that's why this was drafted in 1973 after Vietnam, because the legal use of, the wiggle room that it's given other presidents is bad. It's not good. It's a terrible thing.
Who used this? President Obama in 2011. He invoked it when he killed Osama bin Laden in 2011 in Pakistan.
Right, but that was with the permission of the Pakistani government, was not meant to overthrow the Pakistani government, wasn't a surgical strike, and was not, and literally committed limited troops in what was effectively a military police action to get a criminal who had attacked the country. Wait a minute, this asshole thinks that the attack to get Osama bin Laden with the permission of the Pakistani government is the same as joining with Israel to bomb Iran basically back to the Stone Age.
So the president is able to strike Iran based on...
Yes, able. He's able to do all of this. The question is it legal? Is he allowed? And just because you're starting these things doesn't mean you have the right to continue them. Hence the time limits on these things. Hence the reasoning behind it. Hence why you have to go to Congress, why that is in the Constitution.
The War Powers Resolution Act of 1973, the 2001 authorization for use of military force.
Again, this was on the war on terror, and again, there's no, he used this, I guess, to grab Maduro because he got to redefine narcotics trafficking as a form of terrorism, which I would say is fucking ridiculous.
AMUF, and bizarrely enough, Article 51 of the UN Charter, which shows that we have an inherent right of individual or collective self-defense.
Right, self-defense. I don't think they mean preemptive self-defense. That's certainly not in the middle of negotiations. Just go ahead and fucking attack, because they're not going to go anywhere. This is bullshit. They haven't walked away, but they're gonna, so fuck them up. I mean, it's better to have a sneak attack in the middle of peace negotiations. You think that's what the UN meant? You think that's the spirit of the law, dipshit?
You don't have to agree or like with the president's decision to conduct airstrikes in Iran, but to pretend that it's unconstitutional is simply divorced from reality. Send this to a liberal who needs to hear it.
Yeah, this is silly. Nice try, though. I mean, again, this is what we refer to as a gish gallop. This is like a string of lies and like material misrepresentations to carry whatever thought he's doing to kind of shut down any argument, A, against it, and B, the real legal limits on presidential power. And the fact that she has to play it and can't explain it herself is more about how stupid this clip is than even her playing some fucking TikTok.
Well, that settles that.
No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. And I guarantee if Obama or like Trump said he would attack Iran in the exact same way, or if Biden did it, you guys would be clamoring that it was illegal and that they didn't go to get congressional authorization. So the idea that just because it's your dude and you're for it does not a constitutional reasoning make.
Isn't it? And then you've got the progressive lunatics like Mom Donnie posting things like this.
Today's military strike.
It's kind of a super duper long, annoying.
Kind of super duper long. Okay, today's been carried out by the United States and Israel, mark a catastrophic escalation and illegal war of aggression, bombing cities, killing civilians, opening a new theater of war. Americans do not want this. That's true. They do not want another war in pursuit of regime change. That's true. They want relief from the affordability crisis. That's true. They want peace. I'm focused on making sure that every New Yorker is safe. I've been in contact with our police commissioner and emergency management officials. We're taking proactive steps, including increasing coordination between agencies and enhancing patrols of sensitive locations out of an abundance of caution in case there's blowback or terrorism or other shit, right? Additionally, I want to speak directly to Iranian New Yorkers. You're part of the fabric of the city. You're our neighbors, small business owners, students, artists, workers, community leaders. You will be safe here. So don't worry about getting killed because people mistake it. And again, the Iranian diaspora in the United States and whatever is like very few of those folks are viewed by anybody but the most tuckery of Americans as being, or I guess the Fuentes of America as being, potential terrorist cells and all that kind of shit. That's the issue. They've had vilifying Iranians for a long time, and it's one of the reasons why you'll even hear Republicans talk about how Iranians want to be free and all that kind of stuff. And Trump is kind of treating American Iranians like he treats American Cubans. Like, hey, we're going to fix up your countries. You guys can get the fuck out of here, because this isn't really about helping you guys. It's about giving you the ability to go back home and leave here.
Post. So I'll read the part that I think is the most ridiculous. He says, additionally, I want to speak directly to Iranian New Yorkers. You're part of the fabric of this city. You're our neighbors, our small business owners, students, artists, workers, and community leaders. You'll be safe here. Well, Zoran, the reason they're there is because they ran from the Ayatollah, you absolute idiot.
Yeah, he knows that. He just means from violence, local violence around this. Yeah, I don't think he thinks Hegseth's drunk enough to bomb New York, although I'm sure it's on some joke list that he's drawn up while being hammered at the Department of Worry. Yeah, they know. That doesn't mean they have to be for this answer. Just because there's a problem doesn't mean your solution is the only one, and that it's been well thought out, or it's legal, or it's representative of America as a country, or smart.
And in fact, this is what the Iranian people think of you.
A lot of people picked their Mamdani 47 years ago in Iran, which was Khomeini at that time. If you just listen to what Mamdani said in New York, it's verbatim what Khomeini said 47 years ago in the Islamist lefty committee at that time, and people got fooled because it was at the end of 70s and they just wanted.
I think she didn't mean the statement they just showed. She means the sort of socialist aspect of the people that were supporting the Ayatollah at that time, because they kind of, in the same way that what was going on in Afghanistan and the Soviet support, they were scooping up the communist kind of groups to use them as effectively useful idiots. That's why they're the first against the wall in a lot of the revolutions, including in Spain, ironically enough. I think that's what she's referring to.
To be hippie.
Which is very different than, modern social programs that isn't socialism.
And free, and that's how it looked like at that time for Iran. So they picked a Khomeini that was supposed to just come and help people have free everything and give the oil.
Yeah, but it was mainly about nationalizing the oil at that point and effectively creating the resource curse, which ironically enough they ended up getting, but it probably would have been better off long term if they hadn't, because anytime Trump's trying to give us the resource curse. That's why he wants to drill baby drill, because he thinks it's actually going to solve our debt problem, and it absolutely isn't.
Money.
How could you say no to free everything?
Free all of that, and you.
So sorry, Jillian's just relying on other people to make all of her arguments for her, or her producer is. Maybe that's just what it is. Maybe her producer just picks a few clips and she's like, on this topic, listen to her. On this topic, listen to him. Whatever.
Watch what he says. You listen to Mamdani. Trashes are 7 feet high in New York. He just became mayor, but.
Sorry, he just became mayor, and trash is 7 feet high. Is there a garbage strike going on, or is that just her referring to her fellow New Yorkers?
His priorities are to Prophet Muhammad, to Hijrah. He brought Medina, all of these 1,400 years ago. What happened with their prophet? He just brought it to New York. That terrifies me.
And then, of course, there's the hands-off Iran protesters in the Blue City bastions.
Okay, so this says free Iran, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so free Iran from what exactly? imperialism, theocracy, racism, and capitalism.
Okay, so for theocracy, are you referring to the regime, the Islamist regime? Like, is that what you're
referring to the law that was implemented by the Ayatollah Khamenei?
Okay.
I support him in his anti-imperialist efforts.
High blood pressure is the...
Okay, so nut picking, get it. All right, and everybody should drink strawberry juice that she sells and buy pajamas. All right, next. Good Lord. Is this... Hold on. How much of this fucking ad is there? Okay, so she's just playing TikToks. That's what this show is?
Calling for an Islamist caliphate and Sharia law in America.
I think it's about time that the U.S. really starts to invest in liberal women. I do. I think that we should sponsor an all-expenses-paid trip for these women to Afghanistan. This way, liberal women can experience...
Oh, yeah, so she's playing this other lady's TikTok that's making fun of women who are supporting Mamdani as the mayor of New York.
Firsthand what Sharia law and real oppression looks like.
Right. I don't think Mamdani's pushing for Sharia law. I haven't seen any evidence that he's done that. Does anybody chat room, like, again, I like mayor's races, whatever. Is there at any point has he floated anything that looks remotely like Sharia law or conservative Muslim oppression, even in that direction? Like something you could define as a slippery slope. This is fucking weird. Anything. Yeah, I honest to God, I have not seen it. It'd be one thing if you were like, I think they just tie it to sort of, he's a commie or some shit, right? Because he's for social programs and social support in a big city that's largely unaffordable, and that's what you sell to New Yorkers to get in there. And, Republicans bullshit their way in with tax breaks. It's still free stuff in that regard. You'll get more back, but, and still get the New York you've come to expect. It's the same promise in a different outfit. Yeah. I gotta say, like, I understand, this is, right-wingers do this shit all the time. So Jillian Michaels just playing fucking TikToks as dunks or whatever. It's fucking embarrassing, actually.
They can live like Afghan women who aren't allowed to show any part of their body or speak in public. Oh, and don't forget that if a man rapes a woman in Afghanistan, she could be facing charges because under the Zina Code and Sharia law, she's now viewed as having committed adultery. Sharia law starts now. Absolutely. Islamic Caliphate of New York starts today, baby. If we sent these...
Yeah, I think they were fucking with you. I think they were joking.
Liberal women to Afghanistan, I think we'd see a really great return on investment, you guys. I say we send them because when these liberal women come back, assuming they make it back, they would be so grateful for the freedom that they have in this country, and they would stop pushing this idiotic ideology that Sharia law is actually a good idea. At least one would think.
Yeah, again, like that. Please at least show me somebody who is, part of an organization presenting a paper or presenting, trying to get a law passed or something, as opposed to people fucking with it as a meme and using that as evidence.
I try so hard not to be tribal and not to attack the other side.
No, you don't.
But this kind of ignorance is just so frickin' dangerous. It's staggering.
No, and like Christian Zionism or Christian Orthodox Christianity isn't to you in that regard. The Warren Jeffers kind of like child bride thing, or the Epstein files haven't bothered you. Technically it's not a lifestyle, but it's a look the other way for a certain class, which I think is kind of the same thing. If you want to talk about like different rules for men versus different rules for women, the Epstein files are a good example of that. And Donald Trump has thrived on that for decades, and you voted for him and you support him. It just doesn't have a funky religious name that freaks you out, but it's basically the same thing. And yet you're running interference for him.
Having said that, of course, you've got the Kamalas and the Newsoms admitting that the regime is repulsive, but this is not the way.
Yeah, that's a reasonable thought. Yeah, it's a strategic argument, not a moral argument on behalf of the Ayatollah, which I understand why you want to put that up and sit there, because reading it seems too reasonable. The corrupt and repressive Iranian regime must never have nuclear weapons. The leadership of Iran must go, but that does not justify the president of the United States engaging in an illegal, dangerous war that will risk the lives of our American service members and our friends without justification to the American people. And again, the big part of this sentence is without justification to the American people, which also would include whatever their exit strategy is and what their contingencies are, at least to the people's representatives in closed-door sessions if it needs to be secret to protect the function of the war. President Trump is putting Americans at risk abroad because he's unpopular at home. That's obviously clear. Now, why is he unpopular at home? Jillian?
Here's Gavin Newsom's tweet. The corrupt and repressive Iranian regime must never have nuclear weapons. The United States engaged in justification popular at home. Okay. Now, hold on.
Oh my God. No, it's not. It's awesome. And some of these people think this like Epstein thing is like a bullshit. It's just like bullshit. Let's be honest. And I'm one of them.
Nobody's dumb here. I just outlined all of the possible reasons why we may have gone into Iran. And there's no question that at least one of them is true. And none of them list being unpopular here at home.
Right. Yeah, the timing of it, say, like in the middle of actual peace talks and after supposedly obliterating one of the biggest, if not the only legit reason why he might have used, that he might have used as a reason last year, which we obviously didn't do, or he wouldn't even be, but not that you care. Let's be honest. No, you don't care. You don't care whether it was obliterated or not, whether it existed or not. It will, if he says we're getting out, we're done, and then he goes back in June and does the same fucking thing because they were trying to reconstitute their nuclear weapons arsenal, you'd go, okay, again.
So the bigger question that I have for Gavin and Kamala is, what's your plan? Because if you recall correctly...
Well, for them, it'd be easy. They could actually make a peace deal with the regime, not unlike what Obama had. The problem is that, Trump couldn't, specifically because he broke the last one. And I don't know anybody who would make a deal with a person that broke the last deal you made with him. It's stupid. Especially if there's nothing in it for you. If you just think he's going to tear it up again. Ooh, look at that. Something got funky. What happened there? Why is my camera thing getting all wonky? My goodness. Let's see. 1 second. Camera seems okay. Let's open up a camera hub. Beg your pardon. Prompter. Go back to, I just stopped using it as a display. All right. Well, then let me move that out of there. That's silly. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Hey, there we go. What is this? I don't want a prompter, you weirdo. Why's this guy? I don't. Was it? What? What? Maybe, there we go. I'll just go back to that was weird. Try this again. There we go. Beg your pardon, everybody. I had a glitchification. Hey, look at that. All right. It was weird. Okay. Sorry, she was telling us awesome reasons.
Hillary Clinton and John Kerry gave Iran uranium to enrich for civilian use.
Right.
That went wrong. And then...
No, it didn't. It didn't.
And Obama sent them pallets of cash.
Which was theirs already, and we were paying interest on it. More than, over time, if you tracked it out, we would pay more interest on the cash that we were holding of theirs, because they were technically illegal sanctions put on by Bush, I believe, than if we just gave the money back and called it a day. It'd be gone in a week. But we were funding terrorism because we were paying them interest on money that we had illegally sanctioned.
And Biden lifted sanctions, having said all of...
So did Trump. Trump allowed them to sell oil to South Korea. That's where the $6 billion came from. And also, Biden lifted the sanctions in an attempt to try and get back to, hold on one second. We'll bring this in. Hold on. Let me go back down here. Yep. Hold on. Let's see. Why is this size thing? Hold on. There we go. See if I can. There we go. Yeah. Let's see if I can find this one. Because Biden did not lift the sanctions. He gave them frozen asset waivers. But, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he put in 200 new sanctions I beg your pardon. Biden maintained a pressure strategy, issuing over 600 new sanctions against Iranian individuals and entities related to missile programs, human rights violations, and regional activities. Under Executive Order 13846, which penalizes Iranian petroleum transactions, it remained in place. The administration was accused by others of not rigorously enforcing those sanctions, leading to a surge in Iranian oil sales to China because we weren't sinking ships. But they were sneaking around it and that kind of stuff. And we had bigger fish to fry was the idea. Frozen assets. The administration issued and renewed sanctions waivers, notably allowing Iran to access over $10 billion in frozen escrowed funds from electricity sales to Iraq. That was the primary one. But that was literally their neighbor. Everywhere else, they were cut off. Trump allowed them to sell oil internationally. He gave them specific waivers for that. The whole Biden, they were saying, wasn't enforcing the oil sanctions enough. Trump literally gave them a waiver. And when he was caught, he undid it and hid from it.
How did it play out? Well, October 7th happened. And in fact, the 2025 Global Terrorism Index...
October 7th happened because you think Biden raising or lifting sanctions was the reason October 7th happened?
Reported that the number of countries recording a terror attack increased with intensified violence from major groups, leading to an 11% rise in deaths in 2024. And what's even crazier is that the mainstream outlet...
Again, how is this tied to the policies internally of the United States? Was that a rise in this country?
The Washington Post described the Ayatollah as avuncular, which means like a lovable uncle, with a, quote, easy smile.
Hold on, back up real quick. Khamenei was killed after an Israeli strike in Tehran as part of a massive coordinated U.S.-Israeli military offensive called Operation Epic Fury. This is by Hannah Panrick on Fox News. Okay, Washington Post. There you go.
Which means like a...
Hold on. No, I want to... let's see. Washington Post, avuncular, Ayatollah. We'll just, there's K. The real Ali Khamenei is here. This is, that was a letter to the editor. Ayatollah's avuncular-style ice walkouts and AI jobs panic in readers' eyes. My Khamenei, let's see. March 1st front page obituary. Supreme leader wielded ultimate religious authority. Described him as a avuncular figure with bushy white beard and easy smile and a fondness for Persian poetry. Khamenei did not rule through poetry. Okay, so this is their reference they're doing. This is his obituary they put in there, February 28th. He played a behind-the-scenes role in Iran's Islamic Revolution, served as president in the 1980s, dominated the country for more than 3 decades. By William Brannigan. Played behind the scenes. President Trump announced his death. Black smoke billowed over Tyler bound. Blah blah blah. Announcing the attack. Previously taboo chants of death to Khamenei were heard in the streets. Security forces respond by launching a bloody crackdown, killing more than 6,800 protesters, detaining tens of thousands. Ayatollah Khamenei blamed the carnage on Trump, denouncing him as a criminal who openly encouraged protesters. Early follower of him, a sterk cleric who inspired revolution against Iran's U.S.-backed monarchy, Ayatollah Khamenei staunchly opposed the United States and Israel, rejected Western liberalism, adhered strictly to fundamentalist social policies. As a supreme leader of Iran since '89, he succeeded Khomeini, wielded ultimate political and religious authority in the Islamic Republic, outranking elected president and overseeing the country's armed forces, internal security, and judiciary. He had a final say on landmark nuclear accord with 6 world powers, including the United States. It restricted their program, which Trump threw in the fucking dustbin, but he appeared to regret it after Trump pulled the United States out of the agreement in 2018 during his first term and reimposed harsh sanctions. In retaliation, Iran began disregarding some of the provisions of the nuclear deal, notably limits, which is, by the way, directly tied to where we ended up with what she was mentioning in 2024. He called the killing of Qasem Soleimani a cowardly act, called Trump a clown. After Trump lost the 2020 blah, blah, when Iran was convulsed by widespread protests, the death of a young woman, blah, blah, blah. Yep, we know how that went down. This is the part where they get to with his bushy smile, bushy white beard and easy smile, Ayatollah cut a more avuncular figure in public than his perpetually scowling but much more revered mentor. He was known to be fond of Persian poetry, classic Western novels, including Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, but like the uncompromising Khomeini, he opposed moderates' efforts to promote political and social reforms domestically and to secure rapprochement with the United States. Some Iranians who knew Ayatollah before he became leader described him as a closet moderate. Karim Sajapour, a leading researcher in Iran with the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, wrote it in a 2008 study. Others, however, took him at face value. A deeply religious, ideologically rigid, anti-American cleric whose politics were stuck in the anti-imperialist euphoria of the 1979 revolution. Third decade of his rule became increasingly repressive after security forces, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he had a bushy beard and an easy smile, and he was avuncular compared to Khomeini. His image was an impartial and magnanimous guide, unraveled, exposing him as a petty and partisan autocrat, dependent far more on his intelligence, security, and military apparatus than on the Muslim clergy. Sajapour wrote, Ayatollah Khomeini first came to prominence as a strong supporter of the militants who seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in '79, held 52 Americans hostage. He was seriously injured in an '81 assassination attempt, but went on to win the first of his 2 terms. Arrest torture under the Shah. Khomeini was born in '39, where his father was a Shiite cleric of humble means. He was the second of 8 children. He and his family had a difficult life, sometimes had to eat nothing to eat but bread and raisins, he said in a biography. He was sent to Islamic schools from an early age, and in his late teens, he briefly studied in Jaffa, Shiite shrine city and center, learning in neighboring Iraq. He then went to the Shiite holy city of Qom, about 90 miles south of Tehran, where he studied for 6 months under Khomeini. To cut short his thing, because renowned cleric, to return to Mashhad to care for his ailing father. This shit from his... there he is in the middle. And he was with Khomeini, and he was arrested several times, spent until 3 years in prison before being sentenced to a short internal exile in Iranshar in the far southeastern part of the country with the Islamic Revolution. Okay, so avuncular and an easy smile compared to Khomeini is the idea. I can understand why people would be sensitive to this in that regard, but they don't paint him as being avuncular and having an easy smile, just that he seemed more keen and moderate than Khomeini did, or it was seen that way, it was perceived that way, which he wasn't, would be the argument. So anyways, back to what she was saying about how Washington Post slammed for describing Ayatollah as avuncular with an easy smile.
Lovable uncle with a, quote, easy smile. You have to be kidding me. Are you guys kidding me?
Well, no, he was described as this. It doesn't mean they agree with it. They're just writing an obituary.
Bill O'Reilly literally wrote an entire book on evil dictators called Confronting Evil. The Ayatollah is on the cover.
Wrong guy. Wrong guy. That's Khomeini. That's Khomeini. It's It's wrong person. Wrong wrong guy. It's I mean, really? It's a different guy. And as a matter of fact, that's who they're compared to. That guy, he's got an avuncular style and an easy smile compared to this guy's total lack thereof. Fucking hell.
You've got outlets like the BBC.
No, she doesn't. They didn't. She didn't see the picture and go, "Wait a second, that's not him."
And Reuters, who focused heavily on portraying.
Who?
You've got outlets like the BBC and Reuters.
Reuters? You mean Reuters? Or is this some sort of plumbing newsletter I'm not aware of?
Who focused heavily on portraying the strikes as an external aggression that's at odds with the desire of the Iranian populace.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, if they end up getting their hospitals and schools bombed.
Which is a total fallacy. Look at this.
Ayatollah Khamenei's obituaries from Western media, you might think that a world leader, albeit a slightly controversial one, had died. The New York Times called him a hardline cleric who made Iran a regional power. They described his leadership style as avuncular and magnanimous. The Washington Post assured
No. They described people describing him as that.
readers that Iran, under Khamenei, did not seek to destroy the Jewish state militarily, just its dissolution through referendum. The Guardian took us on a tour for his love of Victor Hugo and Persian poetry. They made him sound like a bookish scholar. While these gentle obituaries were being drafted in newsrooms across New York, Washington, and London, Iranians poured into the streets, not to mourn, but to celebrate. For 47 years, they have lived under a regime that imprisoned women for showing their hair, hanged gay men from cranes in public squares, executed political
Yeah, the dude sucked. We know. Yeah. And again, the weird descriptives or like the pro status quo aspect of writing about a world leader who was killed in those terms. Believe me, they're going to be really nice about Trump. And a lot of us are going to be irritated about it when that day comes.
Prisoners by the thousands, tortured dissidents, and treated the most basic human rights to speak, dress, and practice religion freely as crimes punishable by death.
Well, it is under their system, and it didn't matter it was him. That's the thing. It's not even like he's more a product of that system and a part of it than he is, he stands out as an individual, kind of like Hitler and National Socialism, I guess.
It's worth remembering what the actual record of his rule was. 22-year-old Masha Amini was killed by the morality police for wearing her hijab improperly. Protests erupted. Khamenei's response? Kill 500 protesters, detain 22,000 more. In 1994, a bomb lay...
Oh, agreed. But he wasn't alone in it. There's sort of an argument for like a Kim Jong-un being singularly like this, but Khamenei and Khomeini before him were not alone in this. That's the thing. The repressive system itself is a bigger part of the culture than say a ruling monarchical family. That's the difference between a theocracy and a monarchy. That's the issue with it. It's also why it's harder to unwind. You can knock off a fucking monarchy and scramble, if every heir is dead, you're done. But when it's a religious theocracy, somebody can just pop up and go, I'm the new evil dude, and they are.
Van was driven into a Jewish community center in Buenos Aires, killing 85 people. An Argentine court ruled that Khamenei gave the order himself. In 2000, Al-Qaeda bombed the USS Cole in Yemen, killing 17 Americans. U.S. courts found Iran indirectly liable. In 2016, Iran's Revolutionary Guard seized a U.S. Navy ship and forced American sailors to kneel, crying before Iranian forces. 5 days later, President Obama sent Iran $400 million. After October 7th,
we paid him to do it. He paid Iran $400 million just to give those guys wedgies, was the idea.
180 attacks on Western forces took place in the region under Khamenei's watch, including a drone strike in Jordan that killed 3 Americans. He built a network of terrorist proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and spent decades calling...
Yeah, but not alone. And you could argue that the people under him are even worse than this. It's kind of the Hitler versus Goebbels and the 12... Nazi leaders being actually more materially effective towards the goals of what we think of as Hitler, and those guys being more directly evil than even he. As bad as he was signing off on it, it was the people that carried it out that were more than happy to, it was like a sociopath, which is worse. The sociopath that gives instruction to the psychopaths is the psychopaths themselves.
For death to America and death to Israel. That wasn't rhetoric. It was official state policy.
Also, again, does that mean that the best way to handle getting rid of that guy is to bomb the country like this, that we're going to go to war? That we're going to... Look, you could make this argument about a shit ton of leaders on the planet. And if you're going to make the case, we just need to go... It's time for, Team America World Police and we got to go on the hunt for these bad motherfuckers, then say so. We know the reasons why they're awful. The question is this the best way to handle the fact that they're awful, or is it even our business to handle their awful ourselves? Would we not be better off, instead of fighting oil wars, for example, in the Middle East, converting to an economy that doesn't require any oil as best we can, certainly within the limits of what we produce ourselves, so that we don't have to worry what these people want or don't want, and they don't have any pressure to play over us so that we have to even worry about the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. Fuck it. It's better. You know what? He killed some people. It's better to just kill some other people that aren't him. Now that he's dead, we'll keep killing people because you can't think of another solution to this other than killing people.
There's a reason Iranians are dancing in the streets right now. It is not because they want war. It's because
the United States is fighting their war for them.
Because they don't. The Iranian people don't need an obituary to tell them who Khamenei was. He wasn't a cleric or a statesman. He was an evil dictator who terrorized those who believed.
He was kind of all three of them, though. That's the point. He was an evil dictator internally, and he was a cleric of a religious movement, and there's no arguing with that. Whether you believe in that or not is immaterial. That's what he did. It's like calling fucking, Paula White a minister. It doesn't mean I buy into what she's selling. It's just a fucking job description. It's not a reason to salute unless there's a moral backup to it. And statesman was technically, he represented the state. I know that she's probably used to, in the West, we go like the honorable somebody from the state of Virginia, even if we don't think they're honorable at all. That's not the same thing. It's just materially what the gig was.
Believed in basic human rights. The Iranian people have been waiting for this day for decades.
Well, then, again, they've been waiting for America to fight their civil war for them, is the argument. And, by the way, if it works and they become free again in that period of time, awesome. However,
they deserve more than sanitized obituaries from.
Yeah, they're getting more than sanitized obituaries. They're getting 6 dead Americans and a shit ton of munitions to destroy their mortal enemy within their own country. They're getting a lot more than that. They're getting like the largest commitment of forces since Iraq to help destabilize the regime that's been running the place. They're getting a lot. The sanitized obituaries, which, again, in air quotes, whatever the fuck, like, who cares? Nobody's whining for him. They're describing how people across the spectrum did it because it's a status quo obituary. They'll leave all the incendiary shit up to TikTok. Good Lord.
Newsrooms that never had to live under the regime he built. And they also deserve what we all hope comes next, a free Iran.
But I think...
Also, somebody's like, you're arguing with Gen AI. Somebody just said that. I'm arguing with the clip she's posting as an example of her ideas. So
one of the best ways to see this kind of duality is this clip right here of Erin Burnett lying her ass off on CNN.
Damn.
This timeline of Iran being a few weeks away from a nuclear bomb is in direct contradiction to CNN's reporting. According to U.S. intelligence assessments, Iran is 3 years away from being able to produce a nuclear weapon if they wanted to. So the facts on Iran getting a nuclear weapon do not bear out the claim at the heart of what has put the world on the verge of world war. Iran's uranium may still be intact and in Iranian control, 408 kilograms of it. Now, enough theoretically, according to experts, to make 9 nuclear weapons. It only set back the Iranian nuclear program by months.
Right, but it's still 3 years away or some 2 to 6 months. Like they're slap cutting this shit together, and she thinks this answers the question again. They could be 3 years away to actually creating a missile. They could create a bomb in a shorter period of time. In a discussion about whether they could make a bomb versus an ICBM, they're different conversations, and you're slicing those together. Okay, let's see what the third one is.
Call it like it is. It's a big deal. Sources tell CNN there is no U.S. intelligence that Iran is building missiles that could soon hit the United States. That's a really big deal.
So which is it?
Well, it's all of the above. There's a difference between a nuclear bomb that you can deliver via a fucking truck, I suppose, or one that you could deliver locally with a short-range missile versus an ICBM. And the argument about why Trump went in was not because, oh shit, they could hit Israel, because Israel has nukes. And if Iran launches one at Israel, all of Israel's hit Iran. They know this. But the question is, would they fire one at the United States or use the fact that they could fire one at the United States as a premise to get their will inside the Middle East? And when you slice up conversations about all those kinds of things into a little fucking cliff notes, you can make it sound like whatever the fuck you want, dummy.
Is Iran a threat or not?
It's not. It's not. Like the material themselves to make a dirty bomb and drive it into fucking Beirut or Tel Aviv or someplace like that, or the Temple on the Mountain, whatever, of the Rock, that's dangerous and whatever, but it's not a danger to us. And the question is, how real is the danger locally to where we would have to get involved or they can't handle it themselves? And how real is the threat to us in the region, our military facilities, or the United States itself? And that is the argument that is being made, and very poorly, I might add.
The answer, guys, is whatever they want it to be.
Well, I think that's the same as yours. Okay, so, all right.
The truth is malleable as long as it serves their agenda.
But enough about the Trump administration's reasoning for going to war in Iran.
The truth is whatever they tell you, regardless of fact. And this is what's really distressing, because Americans go to war with each other over this kind of bullshit.
Ouch. God damn. And she means, by the way, the right fighting amongst themselves. She doesn't give a rat fuck what our side of the equation says about any of this.
And what I'm hoping to clear up today is what we actually know and what the actual facts are. And then
great. Get it. Get what the actual facts. Here come the actual facts, right? Let's do this. We're going to clear it up. We'll get the actual facts, not what Aaron Burnett's talking about several different aspects of it, not about the legality or the whatever. What's actually going on? Let's hear it. Here she comes.
You make your own decision. All right, guys, if you like this clip and you want to watch the full episode.
We're cutting before the facts in this clip? Why would I like this clip then? What the shit? That's the out. What we're really going to do is focus on the facts. Maybe later. I don't know. It's probably not going to happen. And again, this has more to do with the infighting on the Republican side than it has to do with what we're talking about. Now, let's visit another lady, Laura Ingraham, who knows what Dems want. I know what Dems want. I know what Gops need. Laura says, Laura Ingraham, she says, Dems want you to believe this. This is what they want you to believe, okay? They're going to believe this. And you better believe it, baby. You better believe it.
Well,
this is the angle.
Democrats' predictions for Operation Epic Fury remind me of all their other doomsday scenarios.
Like the tariff thing wouldn't work, or pass the SCOTUS, or Trump wouldn't be in the Epstein file. No, sorry.
Remember, they predicted that tariffs would have a horrific impact on our economy.
Yeah, and once they were actually applied, they started to. That's why inflation has continued to go up. And most of the time, Trump tacoed and cut them out, so you thought they were actually running when they weren't. And we had basically a similar structure by the time it all shook out. It just cost a bunch of people their livelihoods.
They did not. They said that America would rise up against ICE and deportations. No, they didn't.
Well, I mean, besides Nick Fuentes and his crowd.
And globalists said that China's economy would shrug off tariffs and was...
It's the lowest economic growth target in decades. The March 4th of this year. Okay, so let me see that one. Hold on. I mean, this is a fait accompli. China's economy is fucked anyways. It has little to do with us. Lowest growth. Okay. We'll do this again. China dials down growth annual CNBC. China, this is it. Okay, here we go. One moment. I'm going to show the reader on this. China sets its lowest economic growth target in decades. The goal of between 4.5 and 5%, announced at a gathering of the Communist Party leaders, was the lowest since 91 and can offer clues about China's policy-making plans. Lowest economic growth is 4.5 to 5%, which is quite a lot, but it's also, I mean, it's bullshit. But from her standpoint, there's a reason why she didn't show the number, because it doesn't sound bad at all. It's what Trump is actually hoping for. Every March, China's leaders gather in Beijing's Great Hall of People to announce how much the world's second largest economy is expected to grow that year. I would argue it's smaller than Japan's. Feel free to add me. It doesn't change much from year to year. On Thursday, the target goal was between 4 and 5 and 5%. It's the first time in more than 3 decades that the benchmark was placed below the 5% mark and represents an official acknowledgement that China is on a slower growth path. They also are trying to present that they're on a slower growth path because of how real estate's been fucked up and how business is grinding, and that, you know, it's like wearing a suit of the people when you're out campaigning. The announcement came, unveiling growth target is followed closely by financial markets because it lays out the expectations of the country's officials, including Xi Jinping, and a political system heavily directed from top levels. The number can offer clues about plans for economic policymaking. Speculation over whether the target would be below 5%, where it has been for the past 3 years, as a parlor game amongst China watchers. Okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Little to do with anything. Has nothing to do with Trump. Has everything to do with the fact that the CCP is fucked.
Unstoppable. Well, they were wrong. It's already slowing. And now many of these same people seem to be wish casting that Operation Epic Fury can't.
Oh, it's more wish casting. It's witchcraft. That's the code word for witchcraft that Tucker Carlson's using.
Can't work because Trump's team is lame.
Well, they are. It's not that it can't work, and I've argued the problem is that in the short term it might, but cause more problems down the road because they're incapable of intellectually processing the blowback that could happen in both the region and at home, and have not prepared for it because they think that's women's work.
I'm thinking you could pick a random group of people off the street tonight here in Washington, D.C., just a random group, and they could probably do a better job than our government is doing right now with this.
Doomsdayer's wrong again. Oh, really, Senator?
Also, hey, dipshit, we're 6 days in. You might want to keep your powder dry, no pun intended, about how well this is going.
And how did Biden's crew do with its managed containment of Iran? That's what they called it. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Things went in reverse under Biden. They failed diplomatically. They failed to...
Trump scuttled the deal, which would make it harder for anybody to make a deal, including himself.
Revive their old 2015 nuclear deal that Trump...
Which worked.
Smartly pulled us out of.
Smartly, yeah.
Sanctions didn't do the trick. And Iran, meanwhile, approached nuclear threshold status. Well, but they...
citation needed?
Sure talked a lot.
We'll continue to work together to confront and counter the dangerous and destabilizing influence of Iran. As President Biden's made clear, the United States is committed to preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. Iran is a threat not only to Israel and the region, but increasingly to the world.
Well, that was all talk and, of course, no action. Biden's Iran strategy, turns out it was no strategy at all.
Also, I think that was another opinion piece from Politico.
As Politico even noted in 2024. The truth is, our military's primary objective, eliminating Iran's nuclear program, eliminating Iranian ballistic missiles and future production, and eliminating their interceptors, taking out their Navy. Well, I agree. All those objectives, I agree with Senator Kennedy. Trump has already won in Iran.
We've already won.
We're already done. We can just go home. Then why, if we've already won, what the fuck are we still doing there then, dummy? By the way, this is Politico. We can quibble on what counts as strategy, but keeping a challenge off the president's desk is not one. Iranians burn U.S. flag, blah, blah, blah. This is Nahal Tusi. When I asked U.S. official what President Joe Biden's Iran strategy is, I was immediately met with laughter. Then the official said, a lot of people inside the administration ask the same question. Sometimes they ask it on the first day. Sometimes they ask it 6 months later. I have an answer for them. There is no Biden strategy for Iran. This is from this person. He wants to end the growing chaos in the Middle East. He might want to come up with one. The Islamic, he wants to end it. The Islamist regime in Tehran is by measures the root of the chaos. This is an opinion piece on this. He put several conditions on goals. It's a disagreement over whether or not they like what's going on. And again, the strategy has to actually be responsive. So, all right. So this is not a regular political article, blah, blah.
Actually leave Iran.
By the way, it doesn't diminish the fact that it's an opinion piece. It's just different than regular reporting.
After having destroyed their renewed efforts to develop a nuclear weapon.
Yes, they were able to bring themselves back from obliteration in a matter of months. They're very resilient people.
After having destroyed their missile arsenal, after having destroyed their missile launches, after having destroyed their navy, and the good people of Persia will now have an opportunity to pick their own leadership.
It's their opportunity. At this point, across a plethora of issues...
Well, apparently not. It isn't their opportunity. Because Trump says he should be the one choosing their next leader. That he should have a role in choosing their next leader. Which, again, sounds great. What could possibly go wrong? The president's comments were the most detailed he's been about his vision of a U.S. role in creating a new government in Iran. Let's see. He said he should have. Trump said on Thursday he should have a role in choosing Iran's new leader, and that Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the former Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who appeared to be the leading candidate, was an unacceptable choice. Trump's comments in interviews with Reuters and Axios were the most specific he's been about his vision of the U.S. role. They made clear that Mr. Trump's model for Iran, as he told the New York Times in an interview on Sunday, was to replicate the installation of a new president in Venezuela after a Delta team seized Nicolas Maduro and sent him to a federal prison in Brooklyn where he's awaiting trial. Trump's insistence that he needed to have a role in the selection of Iran's future leadership added to the confusion of the question of what his ultimate goals are in military action against the country. And then, of course, the New York Times. Trump says war could last weeks and offers contradictory visions of new regime. He don't say. In a brief interview, because he called everybody for 5 minutes, he was like, I think he talked to people he liked for 20 minutes and he hung up on everybody that he didn't like. He said the country's hardened military should simply surrender their weapons to the Iranian public, which will totally happen. Especially if they're known to be part of the coercive complex of the country. I'm sure if they drop their guns, the public will be very forgiving. He goes, the president said on Sunday that the U.S. military intends to sustain its assault in Iran for 4 or 5 weeks if necessary, insisting it won't be difficult for Israel and the United States to maintain the intensity of battle, even as he warned of the possibility of more American casualties. He also said that we could fight wars forever, which, again, for the whole, when you say your goal is to obliterate the regime and then say you're not for regime change and then go, we could fight forever. And when people are like, you promised to get us out of forever wars. You're like, yeah, I'm not saying I'm gonna, but I could if I wanted to.
Democrats are not trying really to get the policy right for the right outcome. When you examine it issue by issue, they're just trying to get us to give up. They want us to believe that open borders, a weakened America, a dominant China, and yeah, even, if you...
Yeah, no. Quit it. You don't get to cover for Trump's shit Iran policy by digging up old, they just want open borders. Why? Because Hillary Clinton said open borders when she was talking about migrant workers being able to come and go so they could live in Mexico and not have to get stuck here living in secret, and we could actually have a reasonable exchange of labor between us and Mexico where people could go back home when they're done without having to fear never getting back in to do their job or make that money ever again. So they sneak through and stay.
2 days ago in nuclear Iran, that was all inevitable. And many others on the harder left believe that we deserve what's coming to us. After all, we're living on stolen land. Well, given the absolute...
Sorry, so is the Iranian regime. Arab Muslims are different than Persians or whatever. That argument doesn't actually work. And by the way, acting like that's a reasonable or a basis of thought within the Democratic Party, why don't we just settle this once and for all? Maggots are one step away from sovereign citizens. They're just the wrong cop looks at them wrong at the right time. They're this close to just snapping and saying, I'm an American citizen, wherever I lay my foot is my property. And then they just start killing people. That's the equivalent.
Lack of real growth and a security agenda for the Democrats. To win now, they need to hope that financial markets crater, that energy prices go up and stay up.
No, as a matter of fact, they're responsible for making sure they don't, even in spite of bad policy.
And that Operation Epic Fury becomes a quagmire.
Well, I think that's Trump's responsibility, isn't it? To make sure it doesn't. He's the one who started it. Even if somebody's acting in an opportunistic way politically, if they don't have any say in it, who gives a fuck? Democrats can say whatever they want or hope that it fails. But if it does and the prices go up, it isn't because they willed it so with magic words. It's because Trump and his asshole buddies didn't figure out a plan beforehand, because it was really about covering for the Epstein files and also using the price spike in oil that they knew would come from it to cover his shit economic policy.
That's a horrible political position to be in.
This also doesn't exist. Yes, I agree. It's terrible how some of these people want the Ayatollah to come back to life as a zombie and rule from beyond the grave. That's a terrible idea if anybody actually had it.
It's cynical and it's pessimistic.
Right. Unlike the hopefulness that defines MAGA.
President Trump, on the other hand, he's an optimist. He thinks America's best...
He thinks he doesn't need that cream on his neck to make scabies go away.
...is still yet to come. But only if he addresses the big problems left in his lap. The influx of illegals.
Yeah, sorry, there's not a big number, and apparently he's had a year. Why hasn't he done anything about it?
The offshoring of our industrial base, and now...
Yeah, he's not reshoring any of that. All the factories he wants to make aren't going to have any people working in them.
Now, the menace in the Middle East. This is all a
Netanyahu?
Very heavy lift and very risky. But Trump believes the risk is worth it.
Really? Did he tell you this?
And that the only way to keep us...
Or are you just talking out of your ass, like for the sake of kissing his?
...free is to be innovative, bold, and relentless.
And cover everything in gold and ramble about drapes and a hole in the ground.
As we eliminate lingering threats and grow our prosperity.
Like the unreleased Epstein files.
Joining us now, I'm delighted he's with us, Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick. Senator, it's great to see you tonight. You also...
Tell us how awesome this is going and how we don't have anything to worry about. It's going to be fucking cool.
...served in Iraq during the Gulf War.
Which was perfect, and the justification for it sounds a lot like this.
Republicans are holding firm with the president, it looks like. And I know polls are kind of hard to read, but...
Yeah, kind of. They're kind of like... Especially the ones who are like, fuck you, dude.
It looks like the base of the Republican Party seems to be holding strong with Donald Trump.
It totally does. It looks exactly like that. I would love to stick with them, but I don't have time. I'm already, like, this. We've got to go to, now, why would I stick with 2 when I can go to 5? It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. This is, the 5 on day 6 of Epic Fury.
Iranians don't believe the United States has the capability to sustain this operation.
Yeah, and what the fuck do they know? Rubble, that's what they know. Ask the fucking Gazans.
Secretary of War says we have the will, we have the commitment, we have the munitions, and we've only just begun to fight.
We've only just begun.
And Admiral...
And is that true, newsman?
Cooper said all of these things that we've been doing, the Navy, the stockpiles, the deep bunkers, we've been systematically destroying their missile production capability, and ticked off a list of targets, and says tonight and the next few days over Iran, we're going to have a lot of firepower. Kayleigh, what'd you think?
I think we've had a lot of firepower before, and nobody should be surprised that a country the size of the United States would have all this shit and be able to bomb a country like Tehran. However, if I may, can I show you guys something? And this goes out to, let's see, ISW War Iran interactive map. I'd like to show you something if I could. Map room. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Iran, the Middle East. Here we go. Target Iranian institutions. Let's just go back to here. That's the targeted ones. I need the interactive map, though. Iran proxies. Let's go back here. Because the important thing here is get back. Go back. Map. Let's go to the map. I guess that is it. Go back to here. Let's see. Go to Middle East. Latest update. Here we go. All right. Key takeaways. As you go, and then go to interactive maps of the area. So these are the strike areas. Yeah. So let me show you, if I could. This is the Institute for the Study of Wars maps. Key takeaways in this. This is some of the areas that we've been striking throughout the country. 90 million people, large territory. These are areas. This is around Tehran. They blow this up for you a little bit. In this area right here, expand it out so you can see where inside the city. You can see all the way down to here. They're firing all the way back to Mashhad and that kind of stuff. And there is a. Let me show you. Where's the? Let's see. Interactive map. Iran. There you go. This is the Israeli strikes on Iran. Yeah. To give you this an example of this. So these are confirmed airstrikes. These are numbers of features in these areas that they know they could strike, so you kind of get an idea where the next target might be. This is also areas that the Iranians have struck, which are like over here in Israel and the like. See this? This is back and forth. This is what the generalized war area looks like. Now down here here's a little map of Iran. Let me blow this up so I can show you guys. These are U.S. military bases and around the area, or shared military bases. And I'm going to slide this slider over you, and I want you to look at the number of targets in the country. Why are you? It's just because it needs to shrink down. That's why. There you go. Move up here. There you go. Is that the see the country right there? Those are the number of targets that we could hit. These might be military, institutional, air launch targets, facilities for making drones and making firepower, energy infrastructure. These are all, as they say in the business, it's a target-rich environment. And this is the area that, like, these are all the things to be struck. In theory, minus a few of them, certainly not minus the ones that have these big yellow cake production things that they know of, and some of the factories to make centrifuges and all this other shit. The idea that you're going to do that in a week or two is silly. And they have budgeted time for this. At the longest I've seen is 7 months. Minimum of 6 weeks, but 7 months. Now, they could do this, pull out and go, we had to go back in and, we're going to do a bug hunt every so often and try to use this as like, look how effective we are when we let the warfighters be warfighters and all that shit. which is what Hegseth wants. They want to roll in with Israel, do these big, loud dust-ups, go home, wait for, I guess, them, like the Iranians to kind of stick their heads out and show who runs the place, see who takes over and whatnot, and then do it again. So the idea was that it wasn't that this is a response to, a job undone last year. It's that this is part of an ongoing campaign that is foreseeable and predictable for the next 2 years. Instead of a sustained effort of ground forces, you fly in, bomb a bunch of shit, fly out. You go back in, do it again, and you do this in cycles until you've either worn them down or somebody else has taken over. And, if Israel or somebody else wants to put boots on the ground because they fired into Turkey or they fired into Iraq or, Oman or into Turkmenistan or any of this shit, they can do that. They could, their militia forces can flow in there, and if we decide we like them, we can help. If we decide we don't, we can bomb them too. That seems to be strategically what they're thinking about. So this idea that there's some sort of like, what do you think? This could be awesome, huh?
It was incredible to hear from Admiral Brad Cooper. He said in the last 72 hours, we've taken out 200 targets. He said...
Yeah, 200 targets. Also, we have not taken out 200 targets. We've taken out 200 targets in, maybe that's one building in a complex of 5 in some cases. How many targets are there is the other question. The follow-up, if you were a reporter anyway.
In the last hour, there have been dozens of bunker missiles, he said, dozens of penetrator bombs, I should say, that went into deeply buried missile launchers in Iran. You noted the ballistic missile attacks coming from Iran down 90%. He said they have sunk 30 ships in the Iranian Navy. There's an Iranian drone ship, he said, that as we speak is on fire. That is a real-time update. It's incredibly impressive. And when you hear Pete Hegseth...
Well, it is if on a couple of fronts. One is, it's very impressive if you think we don't have the capability to do that. Again, this is not about could. This is about should. Of course we can do it. And the cascading impact of it has to be a factor. But on top of that, it's not impressive if you're like, we sank 9 of their ships. We have no idea what else they have. And just because we sank their drone boat doesn't mean that their subs aren't moving into position to do something fucking awful. Or that they haven't stopped firing their anti-air stuff to move them around. To move them to the next station so that our planes and Israeli planes are lulled into a false sense of security so that they can get hit. Or that they can fire on civilian areas in the surrounding countries from those places and then move them again. And there's so little known about this that I think anybody who doesn't consider that in their concern point is just a cheerleader.
Top of those remarks say Iran is calculating that we're going to run out of fuel here. We're going to put our foot on the brakes. And he's
right. So that's why they would hold their missiles for a little while to contribute to that. That would be a sign of strategy from their side. If he believes that, it's because it doesn't mean he thinks we got all their missile launchers. It means they're hiding some of them and waiting.
Said that is a bad miscalculation.
Well, what's he going to say? This guy's are smart. What the fuck are we going to do?
You look at, we're 6 days in. Day 1, the Ayatollah is gone, 49 other leaders. Then all of a sudden they're counting votes for the next Ayatollah, wipe out 88 leaders. You wipe out, decimate their entire Navy. And then, of course, the first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II.
Which is very, again, a weird flex, guys. That's because most ships by modern countries can't be sunk by a torpedo anymore. They have too many countermeasures.
This is impressive. And my question for all the Democrats who voted against this, if not now, when?
Well, one would think at least until after they broke off negotiations entirely. And certainly it would have been preferable if this had happened back when we actually had a peace deal with them.
When did you plan on keeping religious fanatics from obtaining a nuclear weapon and potentially...
Well, all during the Obama administration when they made a deal. It's like the question is, did Trump scuttle that deal just so he could kill them? Because that was his belief, that you can only keep a deal with these kind of people that way. And if that's the case, then sell it, man. But don't say you're not for regime change.
Destroying civilization. Now is the time. President Trump is commander-in-chief.
So these
sorry. Now do North Korea.
two men believe the mission is going extremely well and ahead of schedule.
No. They say it's going extremely well and ahead of schedule. That doesn't mean they believe it.
How do you think it's going?
I hope that they're right. I think that what is clear is a couple things from this, and I thought both
what's clear is we're hitting trucks. That we're really nailing those fucking parked trucks. Damn.
Secretary of Defense and the CENTCOM commander did a great job. The American people are curious about the timeline. I heard what Greg said at the outset. I do think there's some people who sheepishly say that, yes, we want Iran to not have a nuclear weapon. I certainly want to be clear. I want them not to have a nuclear weapon. I think the president laid out a few weeks ago.
Also, look, you'll also notice this is Israeli Defense Forces, which completely had the capacity to do almost everything that's going here, even without us. That's the weird part, is that the vast majority of what's happening in Iran, Israel's own military could have done a lot of this, but for, I guess, the Tomahawk missile stuff by themselves. And there's an argument that, instead of hitting, they could have done I guess their equivalent of a bunker buster or a Moab, if they have one, to make up for the lack of Tomahawks from the United States. So that's the other part. It's not weird that Israel would strike this country. It's weird that they need us to help in this circumstance. If it's this fucking easy. If we're just knocking shit out. The Israelis know where all this stuff is.
Even at his State of the Union, that we would not allow that to happen. I think the question now is, are we going to eliminate their ability, which many people thought we may have done last June, or are we going to eliminate...
Many people?
People. And if that will take a longer period of time. I heard Secretary Hexet say, look, we are built for this fight, and we will fight it till its end, and we have the munitions to ensure that as long as it takes, we will be there to fight it. I think that's where there's some discomfort amongst Americans whose appetite for long wars over the last 20 years is just extinguished. But I agree with what we were saying, and we were not on air. They need to do more of these, and they need to get their message even tighter and more consistent.
Yeah, they need to ratchet up their lying. I like it when they lie well. I don't like it when they lie poorly. If they could just lie better all the time and get to one lie, just stick to one lie, that would be really helpful.
At the end of the day, no sane American wants the Iranians to have a nuclear weapon. No sane American wants their ballistic industrial base to live. But at the same time, we all want to know, even those of us sane ones who are Democrats, how long is this going to take? And I think I'm joined by a lot of Republicans in asking that question as well.
And after a few days, we got a base agreement with the Brits in the Indian Ocean. Pete said that's going to be helpful.
Yeah. And also the British are ridiculous to even think about letting it go anyway. So I think holding their feet to the fire on that is important. I think the CENTCOM briefings are...
No, they aren't. They're smart to stay out of it until they were struck, until they fired on Cyprus.
Excellent. So if you're looking for additional sources, they might not always...
Because the problem with joining in before you're struck or fired upon is it looks like you did it of choice and you were going to, and that drags you into a wider regional war with proxies and all that kind of stuff, which is dangerous for your own people, and it's, again, not your fight.
Make it on air here because there's so many other things going on. If you want more information, CENTCOM briefings are great, and they're doing something that is smart because they have something in the morning and then something in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's called propaganda.
Because it's a 24-hour media cycle, but it's such a different way of communicating because now you're also competing with...
What the fuck are you talking about? Like, they did this during Iraq, too.
Algorithm.
They just gave up on it after a few years. But in the very beginning of it, Jesus Christ, it was just, we were getting constant updates. It was just it was like they were purging their video stores just so they could fill in more files. Like, we don't have enough... we got new bombing shots. Show those and then dump them. Defrag the hard drive.
Like on TikTok, it's not good. It's very anti-Israel, guys. So just be cautious about that. The thing that's curious is that there's so little video coming out from inside Iran, and it's
it's shocking.
strange. Like, think about even like the protests we had.
The internet's shut down, dipshit. The regime shut off the internet. They don't have access to these things. It's pretty normal in a lot of places. That's like saying it's amazing how little video is coming down internally from North Korea.
A lot of video during the protests. They had Starlink, as I understand it. The Chinese provided some technology to the Iranians that allow them to jam Starlink. So when the 30 to 34,000 people were killed.
Yeah, Trump's buddy Xi Jinping, yeah.
By the Iranians on January 8th and 9th, there's no video. There's no video of the grieving. There's the protest. And I hope that could turn around, because I think that's a very powerful communications tool. Is what are they thinking? What are they saying? We're sort of guessing, like, what do the people inside Iran want? We can talk to
right. I mean, do we really care? It's not going to stop us from bombing the place.
people who live here in America, who have been here for a long time, but even they are having a hard time communicating back and forth. So if there's one angle that I'm looking for in the next 48 hours, I'd love to see more from inside of the country, especially as Pete had said, or maybe it was Admiral Cooper said to the Iranian people, still stay inside. We're working on it. Be patient. But I would love to hear from more of them.
Greg. I don't know. I was a little disappointed. Where was the land acknowledgement at the start? And I didn't see a lot of diversity up there.
You thought it was going to be Bradley Cooper, right?
Yeah. I saw, what did I see there? Two white males. Not a lot of, just a lot of toxic masculinity. You know, it does say something that.
Yeah, that's all Hegseth, though. I don't know enough about the other guy to know if he was. I think he actually works for a living.
There's almost no criticism I've seen of the actual strike or the encourage.
What do you think they're going to say? Do you think people don't think we're capable of this? Of course, we're capable of it. That's not the point. We're capable of nuking the UK out of existence. Right? Does anybody think it would take us long to obliterate Ireland if we so chose? Right? Wouldn't it be easier than this? It's not the point. And by the way, there's a reason why these assholes focus on can and not should, because they can argue one and not the other. And if you argue, if you act like the argument is about capability and not, the moral or ethical reasoning behind it, then you can kind of hide behind the soldiers. What are you saying? Our soldiers are doing something bad? Like, that's how they do it.
Incursion itself. That's because the opening gambit was so decisive and unquestionably awesome. It's like you can't criticize it. So almost all of the...
Sure you can. Again, I just did.
Criticism, and a lot of it is legitimate, is the phase that hasn't happened yet. It's like, well, what's next? Well, what next? I can guarantee you the person that is asking how long this is the loudest is Trump.
Nope.
Because you think you're impatient. This guy doesn't get into something until he already knows how to get out of it.
Horseshit. What are you talking about? Where did that come from? Get out of what? And again, what do you mean? Sue his way out of it? Use the DOJ to scare victims of Epstein into silence? That kind of exit?
He's like a
rock
band that has another hotel room next to his hotel room, so he could say, "I'll be right back," and then he just leaves. I learned that from somewhere. But I do think, like, normally this feels like it would already be over. Like, when you completely clean out the head and leave the body, you just think maybe there's just nobody who can declare surrender because they're dead. I don't know, but I don't see how this thing can continue much longer. But I'm not a military expert, although many people think I am.
That is funny. It is funny how it's, because it's so obviously, true that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And so making a joke about knowing what you're talking about and the fact that you don't. Why are you on a show if you don't have something to add? I'm sorry, I asked that about Fox News. That's my mistake. I know I'm over by a little bit. There's one more thing, or two more things, or three more things. Son of a bitch. Stupid letter. Yeah, here you go. This is apparently, I don't know, this thing is not a fan and is catching a little bit of shit of the Iran war. This is Brandon Weichert on his show saying, this could end up being the Vietnam of our era with a protracted insurgency on our hands. And also some sort of weird ads on Rumble.
This is me when my friends called me stupid for saying I was...
Tell me, discern for me what was signal and what was noise in that briefing.
Oh, God, what was signal and what was noise? Armor-piercing shell, tip of the spear, blah, blah, blah.
A key takeaway is that we do have localized air superiority, which means that we can...
Which, of course, we do.
...start bombing these sites. But I just want to make it clear, this is not the same thing as air dominance. There's no indication yet that we have achieved air dominance. So that's another signal noise issue.
Yeah, are you questioning the size of Pete Hegseth's left testicle, or
another thing?
How dare you question the masculinity of our Lord and Savior Donald Trump?
They kept repeating was the missile launchers. It's true. We have destroyed the missile launchers we can find and see. The Iranians have switched now to popping off these missiles from within the entryways or in these covered positions near these underground tunnels. We have no idea how many they have. So I think it's a little misleading on the part of the Pentagon to say that...
How dare you, sir?
Oh, well, we're going to be able to get all these things. We will eventually
Well, in their defense, we are going to be able to pretend we got all these things, leave, and then say, oh, we forgot something, and go back and keep bombing them, so that we don't have to stay the whole time. We can just kind of use it as an excuse to, like, in case of emergency, bomb that.
For time, likely be able to find many of them, but it requires them to shoot off the missile first. So it's sort of like closing the barn door after the horse has already left.
Hi. Oh, okay. Excuse me one moment, folks. Talk amongst yourself.
I just got my steroids on. They can take a walk with me.
Okay. You're gonna like his place, me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna go over and hang out and see his patio furniture and
good idea.
take a walk.
Okay. Good idea.
I just had some eggs and some cottage cheese, and if he wants something, I'll order him something.
That's smart. Yeah. Okay. All right. Love you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, the screen door is open. Molly's in it.
Okay.
So you might want to close it when you get done.
Okay. Yes, I will. Yeah. Sorry, we have a lot of home coordination going on right now. Family first. That's right. Summer's gonna go take a walk with her son and get some fresh air, which is very good. Sorry, back to this fucking ridiculousness real quick. And then, you know what? You get the gist. He's basically not buying what they're selling. Speaking of, I don't even know what the fuck this is. You'll see. This is crazy. Elon Musk announces why Iran war is really happening, according to Benny Johnson, who's getting a proctological exam and has decided to do a selfie during it. And also, there's big robot armies from China and America are fighting over something. AI slop. That's it? Really? Just feet and boots on the ground, I guess? Is that where he's leading?
Remember that one time where President Trump says he wants to end the war in Ukraine because he wants to go to heaven?
Just want to end it. I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole.
I hear I'm at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah, I mean, he helped Jeffrey Epstein for years. Not only gain a toehold financially and in compromise with other people, but was a running buddy of his. And kind of ran his own secondary schemes around the look of the year thing and his through private parties just for him and Epstein. Yeah. Never mind the fucking dudes who died in that helicopter crash who knew all about his dad's, skeevy loan to his casino by buying a bunch of chips he was never going to cash.
I would like to go to heaven, says Donald Trump.
Yeah, sorry. Again, also because the religious types around him know that, for their version of heaven anyways, you gotta repent and you gotta accept Jesus Christ, your Lord and personal Savior, and recognize you only get through him. So Trump's not going to do that. His ego's too big for it. It's easier for Trump to get through an eye of a needle than him to stick his own head in a camel's asshole or something. I don't know how it goes, but
this is just like a critical reminder,
of how evil Trump is, that even he knows he's going to hell.
Remember how much people lost their damn minds over Trump meeting Putin in Alaska? That Trump's on just a different wavelength.
Yes, he is. Most of us aren't second generation rich kids with skeevy pedo buddies that we fly all over the fucking planet with.
He's in a different space-time continuum than the rest of us.
Well, he talks like that. Yeah, he also, or you could just look at it, he talks like somebody who's been hit in the head with a fucking 2x4.
Obviously, he can put up with things that the rest of us can't and pressure.
Right. Or he enjoys things that most of us would find disgusting, immoral, violent, and terrible.
That would make the rest of us literally keel over.
Not literally.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying he's inhuman. I'm just saying
he's a lizard person.
That he has a different,
yes, moral compass or lack thereof,
time horizon than all of us. He is nearly 80. Men think differently at this time in life and think about
yeah, especially men who are guilty of sexual assault against minors who are afraid people will find out.
Like President Trump's life is one of the most successful lives ever to be lived. Inarguably, right? Like just what the guy's gone through. And so things hit different.
Yeah, it just feels different, He went all the way from being born rich to president of the United States. He's gone through so much. Imagine if he were, I don't know, the first black president or the poorest member of the Senate who lost his entire family and his wife and his daughter in a fucking car accident and had to raise his boys while, get sworn in while they were both in the hospital and then ended up being president, or fucking, I don't know, could read.
For Trump. And Trump's White House, because we've never seen a White House do things like this during war.
Yeah, it's douchey.
Or the White House once again dropping bangers on X. You can't love it enough. Like they're actually loving this.
Who? Who's loving this? Stephen Chung? Miller? We got 6 dead soldiers, you dumb motherfucker.
It's crazy. It's like there's something
up, Daddy
that
Sean.
everyone's missing right now.
Strengthen on us.
It's like something's
What will you do without freedom?
Something is being missed.
You can't conceive of what I'm capable of.
Finishing this fight.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
I am the danger.
Wait a minute. You're going to go from fucking Christopher Reeve's Superman to Walter White, a meth dealer who started his career by watching a young girl choke on her own vomit and doing nothing about it.
Time to find out.
Maximum effort.
Here it comes. Now end this.
Flawless victory.
God damn. Not only is it douchey and dismissive of the sacrifice of the people that are involved, because effectively these are just cartoon pawns to them, apparently, that Trump goes and people die on his behalf, but it's poorly done, badly edited, cheap, weak.
20 million views. 22.
Well, yeah, because it's fucking stupid.
1,000 reposts, 88,000 likes.
So? It's the fucking White House. People are like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I love this, says Hercules.
Says Hercules. It's Kevin Sorbo. Who's so bad he can't even get a job in a Daily Wire or a Mel Gibson movie. Let me be abundantly clear. Whenever these assholes tell you that Hollywood won't hire them anymore because of their politics, I'd like to remind you that there are a bunch of sideline projects out there that hire assholes like this, and they won't hire him because he sucks.
What's going on here? There's something happening that you can't absorb, that I can't absorb.
Well, I can absorb it. We understand you can't.
You're not in the rooms. I'm trying to approach this kind of stuff with humility. And
no, you're just trying to admit your ignorance in what you're talking about so that you can jack off to fucking supercuts of Transformers and real people dying.
I want to know what's going on here exactly. This seems to show what's happening in real time, like the actual point of all of this.
Oh, God. All right. We're doing the China thing. This is what he's doing because they've gone from 5% growth to 4.5%.
Because there is a greater plan.
Yes, Lord.
This is not about Iran.
Nope. This is about Jesus coming back. It's fighting. It's Armageddon.
It has nothing to do with an Ayatollah. This has
well, not anymore. He's dead, I guess, unless they have another one. Then it'll be about that guy.
Everything to do with setting the global stage and the global order once more in America's favor. This is a matter of fact. Check this out.
So how do we do that without wrecking China and Russia then? So this is really about destroying them. So he hasn't been lying to you. He's been lying to his buddies Putin and Xi Jinping. And lying about his buddies Putin and Xi Jinping to you.
From billionaire tech entrepreneur Chamath this morning. Chinese growth is falling off a cliff. Chinese Communist Party just announced that their official growth target is 4%. This is a low.
Between 4.5 and 5. The lowest growth for China in 30 years. It's also a stated artificial number that they make up. It's also higher than ours.
Lowest growth in 30 years. At the same time, with Venezuela and Iran off the chessboard, with energy supply increasingly challenged to getting the atoms that they need to even sustain themselves. It makes for a very concentrated set of decisions over the next few years, especially with Taiwan. Very constrained set of decisions. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. So we're not fighting a battle in in Iran on Israel's behalf. We're doing this on behalf of Taiwan. Cool. Sell that to fucking Ian, Carroll, and Tucker.
Elon Musk responding. Why are we making moves on Venezuela and Iran? This is why, to destroy China. The stage is being set for what is to come, says Elon Musk ominously.
Really? Is it just the wording that's ominous, or the fact that it's lacking in detail and therefore you're triggered by your own ignorance?
What does he mean? What does Elon Musk mean?
I don't know. According to that other person, if you know, you know. And if you don't, you're Benny. Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Elon Musk is talking about is the open warfare that we are currently waging against China. Eventually, it's going to come to blows. Eventually, what's going to happen in this crazy world?
Sorry, so Trump is doing this just to set us up to declare war on China. That's what you're going with. That we're openly attacking Iran because it's a staging effort to declare a kinetic war with China.
Is that there can't be multipolar world the way that the global
so it's the Highlander policy, I guess. There can be only one
order is set right now. It needs to be a unipolar world, and America is going to inevitably knock down China.
What?
And this is what Donald Trump sees.
Sorry, Caesar is participating in or believes.
This is a landscape move to destroy and isolate China, to prove and humiliate to the world that China is not your friend, to steal your girl, Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide.
What?
To go in and literally...
Sorry. He looks tired. Is he losing his mind? Or is he just realizing he doesn't have one, I guess.
Seize to take your girlfriend. That's what we just did with Venezuela. Venezuela sold all their gold and all of their minerals and all of their oil to China. Now they sell it to us. The Panama Canal was sold to China.
No, it wasn't.
We forced the judges in Panama to give it back to us. Now we own it. Country after country after country is flipping in South America from communist to free market capitalist or libertarian, and now we're taking freaking Greenland and talking about taking Canada. We stole Canada's gold, if you know what I mean, during the Olympics.
No, I think we beat them in a game, and it's not real gold. This is super weird. Like that, I don't know. I think it's bad enough that most maggots are concerned that we're fighting a war for, against Iran on behalf of Israel. But according to this asshole, this is just part of our staging for a massive move on China that I guess he thinks Trump thinks is inevitable.
This is what Trump is playing out here.
Okay, so this is Trump's 5D chess is we're going to destroy China, or we're going to blow him up, or we're going to fight a kinetic war with him.
Elon Musk's very ominous post here says he knows, and by the way, Elon Musk just powers the U.S. military. U.S. military powered by Starlink satellites. No one can operate a military activity without Starlink satellites.
Gibberish. We have our own fucking satellites, dummy. The U.S. government has our own satellites. You might be shocked, but NASA's been sending them up for a long fucking time. What? You think we rely on fucking Starlink? Are you nuts?
A nascent Russia and China are trying to catch up here in Iran, but the world is watching us humiliate Iran, which China and Russia funds. All of their munitions, all of their weapons, they all come from they all come from China and Russia.
No, they don't. Russia's fucking drones come from Iran. China buys oil, and Iran uses that oil money to build the shit they want, but they don't buy Chinese munitions, you fucking dumbass. That's Venezuela, an argument.
They've given billions of dollars to Iran, and everything's been vaporized. All of it.
They didn't give it to them. They bought shit.
It's gone.
Sorry, okay. So the argument here is that Iran is not the greatest state sponsor of terrorism. China is. So I guess Benny owes the Democrats that voted against that resolution, the 53 Democrats who said Iran is not the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. Benny says that all the Republicans who've been insulting them owe them an apology because it's really China that is the world's #1 sponsor of terror, because they just give Iran money to do with whatever they want, not to buy oil or do anything. They just give them arms, give them missiles, give them money, and whatever they do with it, they're allowed to. So they're the money behind the money.
It's gone, ladies and gentlemen. China's beloved dictator, Maduro, gone.
And everybody else in his cabinet still there.
Venezuela now bending the knee, literally getting down on their knees for America.
Literally not. She's standing. We can see she's standing. You mean figuratively.
Look at that. Thrilled about it, by the way.
Also, looks like Doug Burgum is driving an imaginary car.
Venezuela President Delcy Rodriguez thanking President Trump weeks after he bombed Venezuela.
Well, yeah, because it put her in power.
Hemos mencionado y resaltado, el gobierno de Venezuela está a la disposición para, a través de los canales de cooperación, abordar.
Betty doesn't understand Spanish, and neither does Doug Burgum, and they're both like, sounds good to me. Sounds lovely. I'll take 2, actually.
You'll love to hear it.
You do? Yeah, you're obviously not friends with Tucker. He hates when he hears Spanish.
Diplomatic relations now completely back on with Venezuela. We had no diplomatic relations in this country for decades.
So?
Now we're shipping tankers full of Venezuelan oil to Texas, pure American aura.
Yeah, that's private resources from them going to private companies in Texas. That's not like American oil. We don't get to keep that. We just process it. It's a refinery.
Ladies and gentlemen, Iran is losing the war. They're collapsing. Their missile stocks,
according to Matt Forney,
are depleted rapidly. Their launchers have been systematically destroyed, and they're begging Trump for a ceasefire. It'll be over soon, and Trump will be the most popular president in decades.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. It's only going to be over very, very soon, and we won't be back here in 3 months.
Ballistic missile launches. Let's see, 350 in day 1, 15 on day 8. Drone swarms, 294 on day 1, 12 day 8. Iran is running out of weapons.
Or they're hiding them, moving them around, waiting till we expend what we've got, because we're hitting sites anyways, whether we find them or not. They figure they'll wait till we're lower on that and then release greater attacks, it seems.
They're collapsing. It was never about Iran. It was
also a much smaller military. It was never about Iran. That's the key thing.
Who has the more powerful friends? America is going full force.
Israel has better friends than Iran does. That's what we're talking about. So this is another proxy war. Remember how they were saying we shouldn't have a proxy war with, Ukraine's just NATO actually attacking Russia, even though Russia invaded Ukraine? They were like, no more proxy wars for these foreign countries. Apparently it's cool.
At the proxy states, Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, for Russia and China throughout the world. And we're gobbling them up.
And again, does China or Russia have a say in this?
On our way to the final boss. And now...
So, okay, the final boss is we're going to war with Russia and China, or just China, and we'll just figure Ukraine's busy kicking Russia's ass.
Now the final boss is going to be so weakened. This is all about war with China. All of it.
Jesus Christ. So Benny Johnson is now cheerleading war with China after Iran. That this is not about regime change in Iran. This is about regime change in fucking China. And his indicator is that they're going to have between 4.5 and 5% growth instead of over 5% growth. This is fucking crazy. I mean, if you were, Tucker Carlson and all these America First assholes who are freaking out about support for Israel, wouldn't this make you a little bit more nervous? Because Benny gets talking points right from the fucking White House.
We aren't causing World War III, we're preventing it. Showcasing American dominance over Russian Chinese tech is certainly a deterrent. It's also about China losing the vast majority of its oil supply overnight. They can't.
Okay, first of all, that says 20%, which is not a vast majority of anything. The real number is closer to 40%. And again, that's still not even a simple majority. You simpleton.
Open up new fronts on World War III if they have no oil. They're checkmated. They can remain strong economic power for now, but that relies entirely on America. We've reset the entire table. Trump pulling off the two most important geopolitical chess moves for America in the 21st century. We avoided a major global conflict. And
in the 2030s or 2040s. So sometime, in the decade after this one or the decade after that one, the thing that's not going to happen at all is not going to happen at all.
Didn't happen because we were diplomatic. It happened because we scared the hell out of our rivals. Now look at
Sorry, something that's going to happen in 2040 didn't happen because of something we did now, and you're sure it's not going to happen?
As President Trump says Iran wants to make a deal.
He says that about everybody.
I love this. I'm not much of a geopolitical guy, but ultimately think this is historic stuff from Trump. Facing an ascendant China, counter the Axis, you got a few options. You can F them with trade. Not really possible with China. You can't really finish off Russia. So what do you end up doing? Russia's...
Well, also, why not? The only reason you can't finish off Russia, in theory, is because you won't back Ukraine. Because your own supporters won't like it. But okay, I gotta say, I'm surprised. I'm very shocked that that's where he thinks this is going. So, according to Benny Johnson, who has a direct line to the White House, the next plan is kinetic war with China, or weakening them so much that they cannot commit to a kinetic war. Real quick. one moment. I want to see how this comes off. Here you go.
What do we get from it? Actually, this is a war that, what is even the upside here? If we win this thing, what do we get from it? Actually, what do we get?
Apparently, we get a weakened China, according to Bend Over.
Oil? We have oil. We're rich in oil. Isn't that what Venezuela is all about? Why don't we, if we really want oil, let's get Mexico and Venezuela under control and take their stuff.
Brilliant. I know. They're right there.
We have some.
Why? But again, I'm just saying, if you want to do something stupid that causes a lot of violent blowback, it's best to do it overseas, because what are they going to do? Swim here?
Saudi Arabia in our back pocket. We don't need the oil there. What actually do we need in Iran? Well, we don't want them to have missiles. Why the hell not? Who cares? The missiles can't hit us. They say, well, Iran's going to make ICBMs. When? In 10 years? They say Iran is at least 10 years away from an ICBM. Nuclear weapons, I thought that's why we bombed Fordo and got out cleanly. Wasn't that the argument there?
Yes, it was. But of course, I mean, I think we're all aware that
that was just bullshit, Joel.
So even if we succeed in our objectives with minimal loss of life or collateral damage, what's even the upside of rolling the dice like this, of taking the risk?
Well, I think it helps tee us up for our kinetic war with China, which Trump is going to do before he leaves office. America first.
Very little upside for Americans and for the United States. As we know, the upside all belongs to Israel.
Well, and of course, I guess Vietnam, Philippines, South Korea, Japan, all the countries that benefit if China is no longer the manufacturing capital of the world. You know, if they diversify, stays in Asia because of just logistics. And I'm fucking with you.
The risk is ours. Blowback, collateral damage, loss of life, that's ours. That belongs to us. It's our reputation on the line as a country. We have staked our status as the world superpower on this. It's American soldiers dying, our equipment being destroyed, and stockpiles running low.
Yeah, but this is really just about, I mean, I don't even know why you're fucking complaining, dude. Don't you understand? This isn't even about Iran at this point, man. This is about us recognizing that we've got, let's see if I can shrink this back, that we have got, a plan that stretches out into the next fucking 2 decades, I guess, till the 2040s, and Trump's going to stay president. Hold on. Oh no, this is terrible. James Woods, breaking news. James Woods is leaving the Republican Party because they can't pass the SAVE Act because it's unconstitutional, a waste of fucking time, won't kick in until 2027, and will limit their own ability to vote because more Republican voters won't get their real ID because they think it's a fucking plot against Jesus. And apparently now they've also voted against Nancy Mace's subpoena against Ilhan Omar. He's changing to independent. And he's going to vote for Republicans anyway. So it's fucking another blathery bullshit moment. But, you know, it's you hate to see it. You know, the interruption between it. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I got radio in the morning, and I still got prep to do for that. But I want you to know, I don't know what you think about, let's see. Yeah, here it is. What you think about how the war is going, because Donald Trump is the Drago of gas prices. If they rise, they rise. Trump apparently on gas prices, they rise, they rise. That's right. It's just, you know, people are going to die. That's how it is in war. And gas prices are going to go up. but I've just got to do this little thing.
I will always be a friend and a champion to the Jewish people. I have been. And I will say, if you go back 10, 12, 15 years ago at the most, the strongest lobby in Washington was the Jewish lobby. It was Israel. That's no longer true. You have to be very careful. You have a Congress in particular, which is becoming...
Okay. We've all seen that clip before. Bit weird that you would say that that's the most important lobby, considering you consider yourself the America First crowd anyways. It should just be the America First lobby is the most important, whatever. But again, this is part of that is an account posted by people are posting that clip on maggot accounts all over the place. There was one more. Where is it? Oops, here it is. Let's see. So here's just for this last little bit. This is Candace Owens. Do not join or remain in the U.S. military. Trump has betrayed America and expects you to die for Israel. There is no honor in being led by dishonorable men to your death. Max Blumenthal, of course, who's been against Ukraine this whole time because, I don't know, because their president's a Jew, and who never gives a rat fuck about any place like Sudan or any of those places because there's no Jews involved. Still, former Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz, declares he won't rule out American boots on the ground in Iran. Again, let's see if that's what he says. But again, I don't mind these people, chewing each other's necks over this shit, because fuck them. But one last
Do you think eventually there will be a need for boots on the ground?
I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes forward.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
I exclude nothing. We've been waiting for 47 years, and we came to a point that every necessary means should be taken in order to achieve our goals.
What we're seeing from... Do you think eventually...
Yeah, that doesn't sound like he's committing U.S. forces. It sounds like he thinks she's talking about Israeli forces, and she's like, you think that includes you? Like, again... A turn of phrase or whatever. I don't mind. I hope they keep attacking each other. It doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to let you guys go before I start flipping through this stuff and doom scrolling live, which is not a show. That's what Benny Johnson does. That's what Ben Shapiro does. I'm not getting caught up in that. Oh, look at that. Oh, never mind. Sorry. So anyways, hit that like, share the show. I will see you tomorrow. I want to be abundantly clear in case there's any ambiguity about this, that the question isn't about whether or not we have the capability to remove the leader of Iran or any other country. We clearly do. It's if that is the best path, and if unilaterally the president decides to start knocking fucking people off, he'll be capable of doing it because of the enormity of our military in general. And he might take that as a green light to go do even more illegal shit. And is this the best path? And as a democracy, our representatives should have a say in this. And should certainly be briefed on any of the plans that could put troops in harm's way and commit them to, any kind of, boots on the ground, any kind of long form battle, even if it's from the air or from the sea, is a war. And we would, even when we're doing uncomfortable things in the world that might be ill-advised, it would be nice if we remained America in the process. So, is it good the Ayatollah is dead? Sure. Is this the best way that he would end his reign on Earth? We don't have a say. And that's the concerning part. And we've been through this before with others, and it has not worked out. That's the concern. And if it's just an example of, a forever sprawling war with our true enemy of China, then that's a bigger conversation, that the right needs to have amongst itself and explain to the American people. Because I guess if you floated this idea that between Benny Johnson and Elon Musk, we're actually fighting in Iran, not as a proxy for Israel, but to get ready for our war with China, what do you think the poll numbers would be on that shit? And if it's, I don't think it's true. I think it's nuts. But if it is true, or it was even close to true, or they start getting, you know, their airs up that they think this will actually work, that's fundamentally shifting the values of the country in the direction of the kind of person who would party with a fucking pedophile, obviously. So I really do think, by and large, they're full of shit. But I also think that they're building up the comfort. Like obviously Crowder and his group were supposed to push this 3-month window so that if we go past 6 weeks and it goes into 3 months, it's acceptable past that point, and then they could keep kicking the can down the road, and he can win the midterms because you don't change a horse midstream, and if you elect Democrats, they're gonna fucking impeach Trump, and he's in a wheelchair now, and he won't have a legacy if these assholes have a say, right? That's what they're gonna say. So you got to vote. Yes, you got to vote Democrat wherever is there. The person who has the most chance at winning that isn't a Republican, vote for that person. That's the only option we have this time around. Otherwise, this is all academic. This is all just talking in a circle. He's going to attack Cuba. I mean, the other thing might be is that they're doing this because they can declare victory after a huge amount of destruction and then use that as either a threat or directly do that to Cuba. Right? And the irony that the Genocide Joe morons that were saying, you know, Harris and Biden are fucking genocidal and Donald Trump will be the peace president, will be responsible for the most egregious imperial acts by the U.S. government in its history. Because say what you will about the bullshit of of Iraq and Afghanistan, but we didn't seize their resources for our own uses. That's what this is. And the next Democratic president is going to have to unwind this. But they won't be able to do it without the support votes in the House and in the Senate. And they certainly won't be able to do it if there are a bunch of people going, I don't know, it seems like the lesser of two evils. Like the lesser of two evils between a serial killer and a pickpocket is a pickpocket. Are you going to flip a coin to see which one you give a ride home? You guys get it. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow for the House Parks radio program, Mega Worldwide. I do believe Johnny Million is planning on being in studio tomorrow, even though it didn't work out last week, so that Driftglass can be in studio with him at WCPT. Barb is asking, how will they use the excuse that we're at war to cancel the midterms? No. They won't. They can't. Don't worry about it. All right, I'll let you guys go. I think are we throwing it? Yeah, we're going to throw it to Tara Devlin. Everybody wish Tara Devlin a great night on my behalf. Tell her she's doing a great job. Sparklers, you guys are the best guest chat room that jumps on anybody else's stuff. Yes, he will be there. Excellent. Okay, so yeah, Johnny knows. It's going to be great. Yes. So in honor of, I guess, bend over, let's just... well, here it is. The whole thing.
Dum 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 bin dum 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 stupid dumb silly stupid dum dum dopey dippy dum dum stupid really dumb.
Dum 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 stupid.
Hit that like, share the show, everybody.
Stupid dum dum dopey dippy dum dum stupid really dumb. You heard of silence, really afraid. If you're no puebly, it's never been. Because we all love when we are pipe, when Marky Bunnin to come outside. stupid, dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb. Dopey, dippy, dumb, dumb, stupid, really dumb. You hated Cybins, you'll be a friend with your Nook Mail me, this never pin. We cause we old blood when we advide, and Milky Bonin to condom side. Dum dum, 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 stupid, dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb, dopey, dippy, dumb, dumb, stupid, really dumb.
There you go.